Gun to your head, the cartel is waterboarding you, saying, give me a pick. That's exactly what we're going to do. We're going to go through and give you every single one of our official picks for UFC Vegas 94. Headlined by Amanda Lemos and Verna Jandiroba. Disgusting main event. Absolutely disgusting. Can't believe that's what it is, but it is. It is an Apex card, whatever. They just throw these down the drain. Who cares? But, you know, we got fights. We got fights. I can't complain. I will say, news to me, we got a YouTube channel out there that's tracking all these results on all the YouTubers that give out MMA picks. Shout out to them. I think it's UFC Predictions Tracker or something like that. Shout out to him, man. Pretty sure he's got to do a ton of work to figure out who everyone's picking. Keeps track of it all. And this is the video that you should track. If you're watching this, this is the video. Because I gave out the early picks on Sunday. That's an early look. And then we do some further investigation. These are the official picks. Okay, these are gun to your head. Who do you think is going to win? These are not bets, though. These are not bets. These are picks. Bets are going to be a lot different. I can tell you that. But let's just scroll all the way down to the bottom. Started off with the first fight of the night. We got Muhammad Usman taking on Thomas Petersen. What an absolute banger to start off the card. Shit, man. Muhammad Usman is going to have to defend some takedowns here because that's really the only path that I see for Thomas Petersen. Thomas Petersen loves to run that little single leg, and that's really all he's got. If you don't get that single leg, we saw in his last fight against Jamal Pogues, he got one single leg. He tried it again in the second round, couldn't get it, and then decided to eat shots for the next two rounds. So if he can't get the single leg out of Muhammad Usman, it's going to be a sit and duck. I mean, Mo Usman does pack a little bit of a punch. He's pretty athletic. He's got a good motor. They call him the motor. I'm going to take him for a pick. I got to take Muhammad Usman just because I think Thomas Petersen's a little bit too one-dimensional. He could end up getting that dimension to work, and he could make it look easy because he's a fat dude. He's actually not a big dude. He's like 6'1", but he's fat. So if he gets on top of you, he could just sit on you, and you probably ain't getting up. But I'm going to bank on Muhammad Usman, who has more UFC experience, who's training down at Killcliff FC with his brother Kamaru Usman, who's a very good wrestler. So he should probably be able to stuff a single leg takedown. If he does that, I think he wins, so I will take Muhammad Usman for the official pick. Moving up the card, we got Luana Carolina, Lucy Pudilova. Lucy Pudilova, 3-7 in the UFC. This is her second stint in the UFC, probably fighting for a contract here. I don't know if she's going to be able to get that win to get that next contract because Luana Carolina is the better striker here. The much better striker, in my opinion. Not that Lucy Pudilova is bad, but she just doesn't really hold any type of impact on her shots. She just slap a leg kick here and there, and she can get some takedowns. But when she gets those takedowns, she doesn't really do much with them. And throughout Luana Carolina's career, she's actually been beating these wrestlers. Now, she is moving up a weight class to 135, and I think she should be able to handle herself there because I think her takedown defense is good enough, and on the feet, I think she should be able to outstrike her. She's got decent enough movement on the feet, too, so I'm going to take Luana Carolina for an official pick, but this is women's MMA, and pretty gross fight. Probably going to be a close decision, and, maybe leaving up to the judges, and it could go either way. But I will take Luana Carolina for the official pick. Up the card, we got Loik Radzhabov taking on Choi Ogden. Loik Radzhabov, he's going to need to be aggressive here, because if he doesn't, Choi Ogden's just going to be very boring, and he's going to be very methodical, and he's going to try to pick him apart. Now, I do expect Loik to try to land some big overhands. Choi Ogden, a guy that's really tough to hit, because for one, he fights beyond the jab, fights beyond the leg kicks, then he's going to mix in the wrestling, and he has a pretty decent frame for 155. He's got a good mind. He's always comes in with a great game plan. And I think he can come in here with a good game plan against Loik Radzhabov by kicking the legs, taking his feet out from under him, avoiding the big right hand from Loik Radzhabov, stuffing takedowns. He's actually never been taken down in the UFC, Choi Ogden. Not that he's fought like the greatest wrestlers. But even in Loik's fights, he can get taken down. He can get controlled on the ground. And if Choi Ogden does get a takedown, he showed in his last fight against Holobaugh, he can hold you there for a long time. And I would bank on Choi Ogden getting at least one takedown, banking at least one round. And, I don't think Loic's going to finish him on the ground. I don't think Loic is going to knock him out. And the minute winner, I think, is probably going to be Trey Ogden. So I got to go with Trey Ogden for the official pick. And we can move on to some more women's MMA. Miranda Maverick taking on Diani Barbosa. And I'm very suspect about Miranda Maverick because I really haven't seen any improvements from her. Since she's been in the UFC, I haven't seen any improvements. And if anything, I've seen her get worse. For one, she got absolutely ragdolled by Erin Blanchfield, and she holds like a 44% takedown defense in the UFC. That ain't good. She's supposed to be a wrestler. Now, maybe she's just getting taken down because she don't care. She'd rather just be on the ground. But she's not like some great jiu-jitsu player. And Diani Barbosa is probably the better jiu-jitsu player here. Maybe not the better wrestler, but she does hold some judo throws, some trips. She's very crafty with the way she gets her takedowns. So if Diani Barbosa can get Miranda Maverick to the ground, I think she's got a good chance to win this fight. And even on the feet, I think she's got a good chance to win this fight as well. My concern for Barbosa is that she gets taken down and she plays off her back and ends up just losing the fight based off being on her back and not really getting anything off as far as submissions go. So, for an official pick, I'm probably going to take, well, I shouldn't say it probably, I am going to take Miranda Maverick for a gun to your head type of pick, but very little confidence. And I actually think if you're going to bet on it, probably better off taking Diani Barbosa as the underdog because she is plus 190 underdog. In a fight that I think is probably going to be pretty close, and I think the finishing upside is more on Diani Barbosa's side. She's not bad. She's really not bad. But I will take Miranda Maverick for the pick because I think she probably gets the takedowns and racks up some control time and gets the win that way. But it's gross. Women's MMA. Don't really care. Brian Kelleher versus Cody Gibson. Brian Kelleher has had a much better UFC career than Cody Gibson, but he is the underdog, and mainly because he's had a lot of injuries, 3-fight losing streak, to some great competition, and he's just generally a small guy who has very poor submission defense. He's been submitted like 7 or 8 times, like a lot of times, an unbelievable amount of times. This fight could hit the ground pretty quickly because Brian Kelleher is probably going to look for a takedown. Maybe even Cody goes for a takedown too. And then at that point, I think Brian could end up getting subbed. But on the feet, if nobody shoots the takedown on the feet, I think Cody Gibson's good enough to win on the feet. He's a much bigger dude, much longer dude. He's got a good enough amount of volume. He's got some decent pop. Those knees up the middle are going to be big too against the shorter guy in Brian Kelleher. So Cody Gibson should probably win this fight, but this dude's UFC career has been really, really bad. There's no sugarcoating it. It's been really, really bad. And the fact that Brian Kelleher has had a better UFC career than him is sad. Because Brian's just one of those guys that goes in there and doesn't care if he wins or loses. He's just going to go out there and leave it out there. And if he finds himself in a choke, he's going to tap and move on to the next one. And that's a better UFC career than Cody Gibson. Cody Gibson's the favorite. I'm going to take Cody Gibson for the pick because I think he's probably better at this point in their careers. Maybe he's got something to prove because his UFC career hasn't been very good. So I'll take Cody Gibson, but this one's pretty gross. Pretty gross. This whole card is gross. Good Lord. It's rough. Moving on. We got Jung Lee and Haider Amil in the featured prelim. Now, on the early picks video, I think I took Haider Amil. After further investigation, I'm going to go with Jung Lee. Let me tell you why. Haider Amil is undefeated. Why is he undefeated? Because his fight style is to just walk forward and break you down and eventually get you to wilt. If he can't get you to wilt, he probably does more activity throughout the fight to win a decision. That only works for so long. That only works until you find a guy that's actually has some skill. And I think he's finding a guy that actually has some skill here, Jung Lee. Jung Lee has some real finishing potential on the feet and the ground, and Haider Amil does not have very good takedown defense. Now, he might show okay takedown defense as far as his UFC stats, but a lot of that is coming from the one fight he had in the Contender Series where he stuffed like 17 takedowns. The guy was gassed out, shooting the worst takedowns. So that ups his takedown defense numbers. If you watch his regional tape, he gets taken down pretty easily. I think Jung Lee could actually get this guy to the ground, Haider Amil to the ground, if he wants to. And on the feet, I think he's just a faster striker. Hyder Amil's really hittable on the feet because he just walks forward and he'll take a shot to give one. I think Jung Young Lee is good enough with his footwork to evade and also land some big shots on Hyder Amil, and he can go to the wrestling if he needs to. And I don't think Hyder Amil is some potent finisher, man. I mean, he got a knockout against Fernie Garcia, but he was just putting the pressure on Fernie, and Fernie, he got nothing to give back. He just doesn't have any power to give back. I don't think he won a UFC fight. I think he was like 0-4, got cut. So it's not really the greatest win in your UFC debut. I mean, Jung Young Lee is the favorite. I'm not saying anything crazy, but I'm just telling you why I'm flipping my pick, my early pick from Hyder Amil. I'm going to be taking for the official pick. Jung Young Lee is the official pick. I think he gets it done. Up the card, we got Doo Ho Choi and Bill Algeo. Little worried about it, Bill Algeo here, but I am going to take him for a pick because Doo Ho Choi has not won a fight in 8 years. Am I really going to sit here and tell you that he's going to win this fight when he hasn't won a fight in 8 years? No. Now, besides that, you look at this stylistically. Doo Ho Choi, I just don't think has the forward pressure nor the aggression on the feet to beat Bill Algeo. To beat Bill Algeo, you got to have a lot of forward pressure. You got to have a lot of volume, or at least like some type of takedown game. Because what Kyle Nelson did was basically just like, I don't care. I'm going to walk down and throw some big bombs, and I'm going to hit you. And he's a big dude at 145. And Doo Ho Choi's not really a big dude, and he's not really a guy that's like just throwing bang, 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 like in combination. He's a guy that wants to sit back and kind of pick his shots and land when he lands. He can get in a firefight, but I think Bill Algeo is just going to be able to get in the groove early and just pick his shots early, and then eventually just start to pull away with it as the fight goes on. So Bill Algeo is the pick. He is 35, got a lot of experience, and coming off the stoppage loss is not always great, but Doo Ho Choi hasn't won a fight in 8 years, so Bill Algeo is going to be the pick. Up the card, we got Cody Durden taking on Bruno Silva. And I think on the early picks video, I sided with Cody Durden, but I wasn't very confident in it, and I'm going to switch over to Bruno Silva. Bruno Silva is a good fighter. And the only reason I took Cody Durden before in the early picks video was because I hadn't watched a ton of film on these guys in the lead-ups because it's early pick, early look. And I thought Cody Durden's wrestling would probably be enough. He could probably win a decision. He's a big dude, and he's aggressive. He goes for it. But honestly, I think if Cody Durden is going to be wrestling up Bruno Silva, I think Bruno Silva's jiu-jitsu could get him out of some spots, and then you're back on the feet. And I think Bruno Silva's just a better striker. I think he's faster, and he can use his movement to set up some big shots. And Cody Durden has, he's had his spots where he's been hurt. He's been hurt on the feet by Makayev, by Ulanbekov, and he got subbed by Jimmy Flick. Got subbed by Ulanbekov, and he got subbed by Makayev. So his submission defense, not always the best. I mean, sometimes it is. Like you look at Jay Hadley when he damn near got his arm ripped off and he looked great. But I think Bruno Silva could be, I think he's super live for a finish here. I think that's probably the best way to play Bruno Silva is inside the distance. But we're talking picks here. I think Bruno Silva is the more dangerous guy. And I do think he can do enough possibly to win a decision just based off of damage. Bruno Silva is the heavier-handed guy. If he does get taken down, I think he can use his jiu-jitsu to get back up to his feet or find a submission. And Cody Durden's pace could get the Bruno, but I'm going to go with the more dangerous guy here in Bruno Silva. He's going to be my pick. And let's move up the card to kind of another greasy one. Kurt Holobaugh versus Kanan Kruschewsky. And I think I took Kurt Holobaugh in my early picks, and I'm going to switch again. But it's not really a big confidence switch. It's basically because I think Kanan Kruschewsky, his UFC debut was at 165. It was on short notice against Elvis Brenner. It's a tough opponent, man. It's a tough opponent for a UFC debut, and he got cracked. He got knocked out of the first round. Not a good look. But I actually watched some of his later film, and he looks okay, man. I think at 155, he's actually a pretty big dude. He's like 6 foot. He looks built, looks strong. Kurt Holobaugh, 37. He's old. He's never really had a good time winning fights in the UFC. His only win is against Austin Hubbard. And Austin Hubbard was doing some good work in that one. And then just shot a takedown, gave up his arm, and then got rolled up into a triangle choke. I don't know that Kanan's going to be shooting takedowns in this one. And I know Kurt has some good boxing. He's got some really quick combinations, and it looks good. But he's also there to be hit, and I think Kanan, he holds a lot of power, man. He's only been to like 2 decisions in his entire career. He's been knocked out before, but he's got a lot of good knockouts. And if he does, he could hit a club and sub here on Kurt Holobaugh. Kurt is durable, but he is getting older, and I think it could be time. Kanan's also training at Fighting Nerds for this camp, which I love. Might have been the reason I switched the pick, just saying, because I think it's a coin toss, man. I think it's probably a coin toss. And Kanan's probably got the better future in the UFC, that's for sure. So I'm going to take him. Younger, I think a little bit more dynamic or more powerful with his hands. And this fight's probably not going to hit the ground unless, Kruschewsky takes it there. I don't see Kurt Holobaugh, sniffing crotch or looking to sniff crotch. Maybe he does, but we'll see. I'll take Kenan Kruschewsky for the pick. We move on. Steve Garcia, Sungwoo Choi. I'm going to take Steve Garcia because Sungwoo Choi, not exactly the most durable guy. Now, Steve Garcia has also had his troubles with being durable. He got knocked out by Mahashat. He got knocked down by Shaylon Nerdembeke. But you also have to look and say, he's come back from getting knocked down. Steve Garcia's come back from getting knocked down. He's a dog. He's always just going to keep coming forward. He's going to keep throwing bombs. He might be a little bit reckless at times. And maybe Sungwoo Choi is able to clip him in between those spots where he's being reckless and Steve Garcia lose. But I'm going to take Steve Garcia, man. I think he's super big for the featherweight division, and Sungwoo Choi is a big dude for 145 too. But I think Steve has rock-solid takedown defense. He's got hammers for fists, and Sungwoo Choi is super hittable, and at times he can get into a firefight. And if he gets into a firefight with Steve Garcia, I don't like his chances. And I think Steve Garcia gets this one done, probably at round 1 or 2 KO. So I will take Steve Garcia for the pick. Up the card to the co-main event, we got Brad Tavares and Jung Young Park. I'm going Brad Tavares here because Brad Tavares, good takedown defense. Jung Young Park has mainly won his fights by getting guys to the ground or at least mixing that in. He's not a fish out of water on the feet. He's got a good amount of volume, but he just doesn't really have big power. And Brad Tavares' weakness nowadays is when guys just got big power and he just can't deal with it. He's been knocked out like 5 times in his career now. For the longest time, he's just been super durable. And, getting knocked out by Bruno Silva and then Gregory Rodriguez, that's a tough look, but those are some heavy, heavy punchers. I don't think Jung Young Park is that guy. I think Brad Tavares can stuff the takedowns, and at that point, it probably becomes a kickboxing battle, and I got to go with Brad Tavares. I think he's still there. Training at Extreme Couture, I like that. Eric Nixick in the corner, always love that. And I think he gets this one done. I think he's probably got a little bit more pop in his shots at this point. Jung Young Park could maybe win on volume, and he's always got good cardio. Brad's got good cardio. I think Brad gets this one done. I will take him for a pick, and he is an underdog. To the main event, we got Amanda Lemos and Vena Jandiroba. Chihuihuis, baby. I'm going to go Chihuihuis here because, and I see a lot of people taking Lemos, which I get. I get it, man. She hits hard. Verna probably going to slow down towards the later rounds. But I got to go with Verna, man. It's not a sexy pick. Not a sexy pick at all. Not a sexy pick at all. I don't think you can make a sexy pick in this video. Verna definitely the worst as far as sexy picks in this one. But I'm going to take Verna because I think her takedowns, she'll get the takedowns because Amanda Lemos has terrible takedown defense. On the feet, Amanda, she doesn't really fight behind like a jab. She's a very explosive movement type of striker. Big overhand right, leaping left hook, really hard leg kicks, and she swings them so hard sometimes she falls on her butt. I think those are just mistakes. I think she's really dumb too. Fight IQ, she's really dumb. She had Mackenzie Dern hurt badly in that second round. She goes to the ground with her. She gets reversed. Round 3, she gets a takedown on her for no reason. Why are you taking down Mackenzie Dern? She gets reversed. And then she's fighting off arm bars and stuff. I think Verna can get the takedowns here. And a big thing with Lemos is she usually fights with her back against the cage. That would be a very, very dumb thing to do here against Verna because all she's got to do is pick that single leg, throw you up against the cage, and then she's glued to you, and then she gets you to the ground, and you're probably not getting up. I think she probably wins at least the first 2 or 3 rounds if she doesn't get knocked down. She's going to be the minute winner. Verna is the minute winner. And that's the reason why I'm taking her, because this is women's MMA in the smallest weight class. Am I really going to take the girl that just has more power? Probably not. Like, she's the better striker overall, yeah. But the reason you're taking it is because she has knockout power. Nah, I'm going to take the girl that actually has, really solid wrestling, really solid jiu-jitsu, and is going to win the minutes. So I got to go with Verna Jandiroba for the pick. That's the end. That's the end. Right now, we're sitting at like 61% over 6 weeks, 5 or 6 weeks for the official picks. It's not very good. I mean, it's okay. But last week, I was feeling good about these picks, and I think we went 6-5. So that's like less than 60. I don't know what that is exactly. A little over 50%. Let's just say that. But yeah, these are official picks. These are not bets, but these are gun to your head type of picks. So let me know who you got down in the comments. Like and subscribe if you enjoyed. Stay tuned to the channel. I'll be dropping a Jake Paul, Mike Perry prediction as well. And then the Best Bet show will be out later in the week. Appreciate y'all for watching. Till next time, hey, Jab Picks.